UFO-IT. Which is a professional group of highly educated UFO slash paranormal field investigators.
Check out Night Dream's website
Help
at
that if I'm away, go
You're live.
to web.
talkradio.com.
Kevin, you're live.
Okay, thanks, Gary. So, again, welcome to the Sunday night show. This is Kevin, and we are going to do the weekend shows from 8 to 10 from now on Saturdays and Sundays. Make sure that you go ahead and like the Sunday show on Facebook so that you can get the updates on who the guests are. Tonight we have a very special guest, and she is Patricia Lee, and she's a member of she's an authoress, and she's written some books, and also she's a member of the UFO-I team. So I'm going to bring Patricia on now. Patricia, are you there?
I am here. Hi, Kevin.
Hello. How are you?
I am great. It's been a great day, busy day.
Well, I was checking up on you earlier. I was using Facebook to spy on you, and I know you were out in the woods today.
I was.
Yeah, and so we'll talk about that.
I started singing. The woods started singing through me, and so I thought, okay, I'm going to live this. And in the past, I've always been too self-conscious, but when spirit moves, it's just easy.
Right. Well, I've found that very true. I mean, my wife. If you get her out in the woods, I'll tell you the next thing you know, she's singing, she's playing her flute, she's banging on her.
Nice.
Yeah. So she is always doing that, and a lot of reasons, and a lot of things lead me to believe that it's because she's so open to nature that's why she experiences so much out there. I mean, when I was a child, they just said to me, just go out, sit in the grass, and feel the grass. Feel the grass, feel everything underneath you, feel nature, and go from there. So, you're a kindred spirit, Patricia.
We are. We definitely are.
Right. And so you've written a book about your experiences in life. And can you tell us a little bit, can you name the book, tell us where you can get it, and a little bit about what the book's about?
Sure. It's called She-Dragon, How I Found My Wings. It's published by Balboa Press, which is an arm of Hay House. And you can get the book online on Amazon or Barnes & Noble. And I wrote the book because I was wanting other people to realize that they too have wings, and thinking they might be interested in finding their wings. But I find that people are more interested in drama than angel wings. But that doesn't stop us. We keep telling our story and sharing, flying with our wings. That's all we can do.
Right. And do you think that that's an imbalance in a person that leads to that? Is that because they, maybe they're you have a yin and a yang, and one part's out of balance, and therefore you're not embracing one side of that? Is that your premise in the book?
Well, I hit bottom at age I was very depressed after high school and had addictive behavior, compulsive behavior. I was a mess. And I hit bottom, and I was kind of a copycatter, so I'd follow my peers. And so when we were in college, I would take drugs when we would go to social concerts and social events, concerts in Seattle. One night I got too high, and I never came down like the other people did. My friends were all normal. My husband was normal. I was still flying high, and I got really scared. I was sitting on a chair looking out the front window, and a voice said to me, "This is what it's like to be at Western State Mental Hospital."
Wow.
And I got so scared. So I made a plea with the universe. I said, okay, if I can get back in my body, if I can come down and be grounded again, I will change my life. And I did get back into my body. I reconnected, and I did change my life. I got onto a metaphysical path. I started taking some classes, and I learned meditation. In my first meditation, Angel Michael came through a window. He came toward me. I felt this energy coming toward me. I'd never experienced anything like this before. And I just held steady. It's like I wanted something new in my life, and I was ready for it. A friend told me that she could never have done that. She would have been too afraid, but I was ready. And so touched me with light, and I saw feathers, and I heard the name Michael. So I went to my teacher, my metaphysical teacher at the time. I said, okay, who is Michael? What are these feathers? She says, oh, that's just Angel Michael. He's visiting a lot of people on the planet. It was like no big deal to her, but it changed my life.
Right.
I was floating on air for weeks, and I realized I was no longer afraid of death. I realized there were other realities.
Right.
So I had to hit bottom before I saw the light. And you talk about yin yang. Light follows dark, dark follows light. So when you're down and out, when you're in the dark, light is very close by.
Yes, I agree, and I think that that's part of the thing that, whenever you talk to a lot of people who have sort of very spiritual experiences, they've either been through a heck of a lot of trauma in their life. Sounds like that you went through depression and everything like that, and that's sort of dealing with the darkness within, and then they come forth into the light. Most mystical schools have that very true thing from either a symbolic death or some kind of a trauma into the light. And I also think that this is why a lot of people who have had near-death experiences and things like that experience what they experience too.
Right.
Yeah. And so now when you were communicating with the entity, the being, the Archangel Michael that came into your house, is that something that was something that you feel like he's with you all the time? Or is that something where you can call upon him for guidance, or do you just connect to him whenever you can?
He's been with me over all the years, and I'm now channeling him when I do my trance sessions. And we live streamed the last one. For a while, I was connecting with the Arcturians, and this is at the end of my journey. It's not even in my book, but Michael is now giving me messages, and I'm delivering those messages.
Okay, and the Arcturians are, for some people who are not really into UFOs or star people or something like that. Can you explain?
Right.
Can you explain the different types of beings that people believe come to the planet, and what an Arcturian is?
I can talk about my experience because I'm very right-brained and not left-brained. I don't have a lot of information about everybody else's experiences, but I can talk about mine. When I was at Mount Shasta, with a group of women. We were in a crystal shop, and I was looking at all the quartz crystals, walking by and la la la, and then I walked by this one Stargate crystal. Oh yeah, I noticed it, and then when I stepped past it, something said, "Get back there and look at it. Look at me," as if it was saying. So I looked, I really connected, and I about landed on my butt. It just sent out this intense pulsation of energy. And at the same time, I felt myself elongating, rising up very tall. And so I associated that with the beings that were coming true. And then the next day I was at a waterfall on one of the trails at Mount Shasta. And I had that feeling again of that tall sensation. And I felt, okay, who are these beings, these tall beings? And eventually I learned that they were the Arcturians, and they wear very beautiful blue color. And they come through at times in my trance sessions. And both Angel Michael and the Arcturians have to do with healing oneself, healing the planet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so is that what you consider your mission to be then, as a shamanic healer, or is that something that you feel like they're doing that to you specifically so that you can heal other people, or what is it that?
Yeah. Well, it's definitely personal healing first.
Mm-hmm.
We can't know about anything else unless we know it personally. We can have all this mental information, but until we do the inner work, actually have experiences with our emotions, our feminine side, we don't know the whole picture. We have to have a left and right brain. That's what my book's about. Because, well, I can go back to when I was age 30. I was at Oxford, England, at a Human Unity conference. I was walking to my room the first day I got there, and something snapped at the back of my neck, and I fell to the ground, and I was in my room paralyzed for 3 days.
Oh, my goodness.
And, I didn't know what was going on. Other than Angel Michael was with me, I knew that. So I focused on my third eye, little speck of white light. I just focused on it for 3 days. I had to crawl to the bathroom. I was like something severed in my spine. And that was so difficult after 3 days, I could walk, I could stand, and I didn't want any doctor to see me, especially Western medicine. What would they have done with me? I just held steady in the light, and I had all these visions. I had visions of the lady in the lake, frozen in the lake, and it's like, wow, what is this? What's happening to me? Because I was definitely frozen. But I came out of that. I got myself home somehow. It was so difficult because I really wasn't in my body. But that paralysis changed my brain. I tell people it fried my left brain wires. Mm-hmm. It's why I have such difficulty with details and being grounded. I'm very right brain dominant. So that was a huge shift in my life. And when I came back from that trip, and a year, 2, 3 years later, I had trouble relating to people. My brainwave had shifted. It was like I was in a meditative brainwave.
Right.
And I had trouble taking care of my little children.
Mm.
It was not a fun thing to go through. And I feel like some of us have to sacrifice some things to go on this spiritual journey. And the grief I have, and I think my children know this, I've told them this, the grief I have is that I wasn't there for my children when they were little.
Right.
I was spaced out.
Yeah. Now, whenever you went through this paralysis phase, was there any pain associated with that, or you just simply could not move?
No.
Yeah.
Right. Could not move. No pain. Just numb. Just frozen.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've never heard of that before, where somebody has You know, Kevin, I didn't know what it was until years later. I read in a book this
this kind of snap